Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Tech Labs, in which we will understand today what is recursion. And recursion is the most fair topic in Java, and the beginners or newbies or Taro or always face this topic, like how they can solve this question. And now we will study it from basic to medium level. And in next video, we will understand from medium to advanced or expert level. Okay. So first of all, before starting, you should know about these topics. The topics are basically okay. Yes. The topics are basically iterations and functions. First of all, you should know what is loops and what are functions. If you know about these topics, it is great. If you don't know about these topics, we will understand it and proceed further. Okay. So first of all, I will teach you what is recursion. Okay. So first of all, if I tell you, if I give you a simple formula, like first of all, we will understand it what is function. Let us suppose I have f of x is x square, which is given to us. Okay, so first of all, if this is given, then if I ask you what is the value of f of x, you will ask me, sir, this is value simple. If the value of f of x is x square, then the value of f of x is basically f of x square. So you will say this to me, which is also good. Okay, so basically, what is recursion here right now? Recursion is basically this thing. This thing is basically your recursion. Okay, so this is what we call it as a recursion. Oh, sorry, this pen is not working right now. So, so I can say that recursion is basically nothing more than a function that calls itself. So I can say that this thing. Okay, now as you know that this is the value, and if I tell you that if I give a value of, like, say, if x equals to 2, let us suppose for x equals to 2. Okay, I will minimize this further, something like this, so it can be visible to you. And if x is equal to 2, then what is the value of f of x? You will say it's a simple. If f of x is x square, oh, it's not working. F of x is basically x square. Then if 2 is, then the value is 4. And if I tell you, if I ask a question simple, what is f of x? You will tell me, sir, simple, this means that f of x square, then the value is basically 16. So this is how recursion will look like. Basically, in recursion, we will have a main function and have other functions. Let's this is a function. The function will call itself. So basically, what in recursion, first of all, there should be two things: main function, functions, and a function having a base value. This will be our base value. Okay. So what will happen here is basically, um, so basically this function will call. So this function will call itself. This function will call itself. So on to here also, and then this function will call back here. We will have a stack, and this function will automatically return value. So what is happening here is main function is calling a function, function is calling a function is calling itself, and then the once this condition is fulfilled, once the base value is fulfilled, it will return the value, and we will have a stack. What we'll have is a stack. And further, let us suppose I have a question for you is, let us suppose I have to print a numbers, print numbers from 5 to 1. Okay, with loop or with iteration, how I will write program. Let us suppose I will write program is basically main function is like for, this is for loop. Okay, and let us suppose I equals to 5. Okay, I is less than or equal, sorry, uh, hmm, and I equals to 5, and the value should be 0, and I subtract. Okay, then system dot out dot print, the value will be I. So what will be the output here? I have given the value like this is 5. Okay, the value will be like 5, output will be 5, and now it will come again here. Function, it will come here and it will come here. Okay, value is 5, then but it will print. What does that mean? It means I equals to I minus 1. Okay, so for I equals to 5, okay, the next value is will be 5 minus 1. Okay, next value will be your pen is not working. Wait. Okay, 4. So the next output will be 4. For I equals to 4 minus 1, next output will be 3. Okay, for I equals to 3 minus 1, output will be 2. For output will be I equals to 2 minus 1, output will be 1. For I equals to 1 minus 1, which is 0, but I should be greater than 0. Here I is 0, but I can't be 0, so there won't be any 0, only these values, and we will get something like this as a stack. What is here is this one is basically a stack. You're seeing here, this one is basically a stack of numbers. Okay, okay. For base case, and there will be a main function. These two things will be there in recursion, and in between that, the function will call itself. From main function, and from main function, I'll minimize it. Main function, what it will do, it will provide value or no, or it will pass parameter. Parameter, but are basically it will pass value to here, where there will be a function. It will pass the value to a function. And base case, there will be a condition. Once that condition is achieved, the loop will end. The function, basically, what will the function do? Here will be a function that will call itself. Okay, the function will call itself. Okay, once the base condition is achieved, the value will return to main function. What I'm saying is basically in simple terms, recursion is nothing but what I'm teaching is you don't have to fear of recursion. Recursion is basically nothing but a main function that will call a function. The function it will in return it will call itself. Just like here, there will be a function, this function and this function. It will call itself. It will call again itself as much as you want, unless your condition, your whatever your condition or your equation is satisfied. It will call itself again and again. And what is suppose that function base case? What is base case? Base case is also a type of function. Let us suppose this is a function, and this function is what we call it as a base case. Once the base case is achieved, it will return value. Okay, there will be a stack. The base case, there will be a stack that will look like this. Okay, uh, basically this is not perfect, but you can understand it very carefully. Okay, so this is a main function here. We will have a main function. Okay, then this function, then this function, then this, so on to, and here we will have a function with a name of base case. What is here happening is basically that main function is calling it this function is calling this function, this function is calling this function, blah 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 blah, so on to, and this function will call base function. When this stop is achieved, it will return a value. Return a value. That value will goes here, copies to this function, coming again to this function, and it will again go back to this one function in which we will print the value. Simple. This is not a basic science or just a simple method. Okay, means that function will return value. What is happening here? That is function will return value, and then function will return value, so on to happening, and then it will return your value to main function. So what is happening here is main function is calling itself. Basically, a call is generating from here to here and this here, and then after base case is achieved, the base case is achieved, the value is returned from this function to this function, and from this function to this function, and so on to the main function. Okay, so now let us suppose, and now we will understand it very thorough. Let us suppose I have given a question like, I'll give you a question here. I will use black pen. Okay. Let's suppose I have a question like print numbers from 5 to 1. And here we will solve it through iteration. Iteration is basically nothing but yeah, a loop. Nothing. You don't have to worry about it. And here we will solve it through recursion. Okay. I will make it taken. Okay. Let me check it. Perfect. Let us suppose for that loop, I will use for loop for and I equals to 5 or 5 to 1. Okay. I is less than 0. I minus minus. Okay. Here will be system dot out dot print. The value of I will print here. So Now understand it. What is happening here is basically initial value I gave is 5. Okay. So value is 5. Here value will be 5. Now what is, unless it is this one, loop will end. But what does that mean? It means I equals to I plus minus 1. Okay. The first value is 5. 5 minus 1 here I will be 4. Now I value is 4. It will print 4. Okay. Now what is happening here is I equals to 4 minus 1, which is value equals to 3. So here will 3, 2, 1. Once I equals to 1 minus 1, it will be 0. And I equals can't be 0. Why? Because this condition will not satisfy. So for that reason, we will not write it as 0. So this will happen here like that. Okay. Let me check the video's recording, or recorder is on or not. Yes, recorder is on. So now we will understand what is recursion, and through recursion we will try to solve the same problem. Okay. I will increase the size right, like that. So here I will do this one. I have, first of all, I will write a function name. Let us suppose I can write any function like public class recursion 1. This is my class. Okay. That, and public, let us suppose I make a function public static void. This is a function, and a very simple function. You can name it like a RAC. Okay, this is my function, and for and it I will pass a value int n. Okay, the value is passed here. This is my function. Okay, and here what I will do is I will write here a base case. A base case is needed. So base case is here n equals to 0. Okay, this is your base case. In this case, we will return nothing. Okay, sure. And here I will write my value is RAC n minus 1. Why? Value is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. I have to reach like that. And it is closed here. Okay. Now what the value is main. For main function, I write as public static void main string args. And here I will pass int n equals to 5. Value is 5. RAC, and I will pass n here. And we will end from this one to this one. Okay. Now understand this. Here, as you all know that in recursion, we need a main function and what? A base function. Main function and base function. And in our case, you can see that this is your base case and this is your main function. Okay. Condition is satisfied. Main function and base case or base function basically. Okay. And what? Right now, this is your function. And now you will tell me, brother, you have right this name here and this name is here. So what is here is happening is basically I have declared this function here. So the value of 5 is n is equal to 5. So n is basically of 5. That 5 will pass here. Here, the value of 5 here. Okay. Now, and here recursion will start. Okay. The value is 5. We will print here system dot out dot print n. Simple. Here, this will be your output. Its output will be not like that. We will output make it more like in a stack form. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is our stack. My idea is not that good, so I hope you will cooperate with me. Here, the value of main function has been passed. I will write main function. Here the main function n equals to 5, and here the 5 will pass here in RAC function. So that function will go here. Will this condition be satisfied? No, right, not right now. It will come here. This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So what is happening here? The first point will execute? No, the second will execute. Here in second, print value will be n equals to 5. Okay, and here when the value will come here, then 5 minus 1. 5 minus 1 is basically 4. Then that 4 value will pass here. Okay, so when the value of 4 will pass, will first execute here? No, second will execute, and then n will be 4. this one thing, 4, and here then it will come, it will be 4 minus 1, which is equals to 3. Okay, I will subtract this one. Okay, so 3 will pass here, 3 will pass here. First will execute n equals not equals to 3. It won't return any value. Oh, I have to, sweet guys, I have to charge it. Here's my charger. Yes. So what is happening here is the value is 3. N is not equals to 0. N equals to 3. So the value of n will print here. N equals to 3. And n is equal to 3 minus 1. So your 3 minus 1 will be what? 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 will be 2. So n will here pass 2. So the 2 will pass here. N is not equals to 2. Second will execute n equals to 2. And here n equals to 1. And when by the time n equals to 1, 1 will pass here. 1 will pass here. Execute and this one will be here. Okay. By the time when your 1 minus 1 equals to 0, that 0 will pass here. Now value of n is 0. Now the base case will be achieved. Now n equals to 0, that is your base case. Base case has been achieved. It will return what value? Now you are coming out of the loop. Now you came out of the loop and now that your recursion has been ended. First, the main thing case was calling itself, then it was calling this function, then recursion, that means function was calling itself. Now what? The base case will return the value. And it will return this value here and here and there. Now what will happen is basically what it will print is basically your value. Basically first value was your 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. This is not your value. Okay, this is just a base case. Value only has been printed here. The base case has not been reached here. So base case will be 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. Now you will ask me, sir, why it doesn't the value of why there is not a value of 0 here, beta? The value is not here 0 because when n was equals to 0, the value was automatically returned and the statement 2 was not printed. This was not printed. That's why it is from 5 to 1. Okay, so that was our first problem. And in next video I will solve it. Declare this one is your function basically in the name of RAC. Okay, now we will have most important step is we should now have a main function. So for that we will declare main function public static void main string args. Okay, now we will pass the value of int I is equal to 5. Okay, and now we will call this RAC function. Okay, here we will call this function RAC 5 and we will pass here n, the value of n, that is whatever the value we had, we passed here this one, and now we will add this semicolon. Now we should now have a base case. For that, here n equals to 0, base case will be achieved. What is this? Your base case. Okay, if n equals to 0, then we simply return the value. Okay, now it has to call itself. So how it will call itself? By as system dot out dot print here alpha n. Okay, so after passing n, the function will call itself. What is the name of the function? RAC, and we will n pass value is n minus 1. Okay, now we will execute it and see what happens here. So what I have wrote is basically the value of n is equal to 5. That value 5, this value 5, that value 5 has been passed in this RAC function. That RAC function will call here, and then the value of n is basically 5. N is not equals to 0. It will not execute. I've added this bracket here. Okay, yeah, so it won't return any value because the value of n is 5 and here n equals to 0. No value will return here and it will return, and then this statement will execute. It will return 5 value and here 5 minus 1 is 4. So recursion, now the value of recursion is 4. The 4 will pass here. 4 will pass here. Now 4 is not equals to 0. It won't return any value. Now it will print 4. Now 4 minus 1 is 3. The value of 3 will pass here. Now 3 is not equal to 0. It won't return any value. Here it will pass here. The value will print 3. And 3 minus 1 is 2. The 2 will pass here. And same. 1 will pass here. Same. And when 0 will pass here, 0 is 0 and return. And then return, it will go back to main function. Now we will run it. Yes. Value of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It has printed here. So what we have learned is basically simple things are basically what we have learned is the value of 5 has been passed here again, n equals to 0, then return and all of these things. Thank you very much.